Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showing off Fortune Ladies. This is actually a deck that I've always really liked. Like, I like the idea of making them go away. But while we don't have a new Fortune Lady card, we do have some support that I have not shown off, and someone did ask about Fortune Ladies more recently and asked if they were actually a good deck. And I said that, you know, I wouldn't consider it a very competitive deck, but you can still try to make it a fun deck, and you can still open up where you can deal with competitive meta decks turn one. It doesn't really have, I would say, the best plays going second, but going first, just like a lot of decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, you can lock out your opponent. We got Secret Village, we've got multiple negations over here. So one card I want to mention real quick because it's going to go by fast. Scrap Iron Signal does work with Token, which will then grant you that ability to get out another Crystal Wing Synchro Drag, which is pretty much the best target that you have access to with Token. So at this point, we've already had multiple monster negations, and on top of that, if we want to use Scrap Iron again, we can get that effect again. But it doesn't matter because we're going to set one card, get Token's effect, and then go right into another Crystal Wing, which is basically game anyway. So you can see the disrespect plays, getting rid of some of our own cards, draw more cards with that ability of the Magician's Souls over here, which is awesome. But you can still see that the deck does quite well. I'm going to showcase off some extra plays over here with some of the alternate ways to kind of play the plays in the deck. But the most important card that I really want to show off actually is a card that I have not been able to show off because I just simply didn't have gameplay of, which you guys will see in the next duel. But it's just, again, showing you guys different variants of plays that you can open up with. And I would say, again, it just doesn't have the greatest going second plays, but it does still have one of the best draw power engines, I think, of all times is probably going to be Cardians and the Fortune Ladies. Although Fortune Ladies don't restrict you really to what you can go for. Like, obviously with Cardians, there's a lot of limitations on what you can go for, where Fortune Ladies, they don't have that, which is a nice little benefit. But again, pretty much Secret Village, and then if you can get a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is not that difficult with this deck. And on top of that, Chaos Sorcerer is always a really cool card to go ahead and pull off. And there is actually a reason why we play this card over BLS. For some circumstances it can be better. I am a huge fan of Blackwash the Soldier, but if you want to play that, you can do that. But Photon Strike Balancer will add a lot more negations over here, so this is another card that you can make, and you can utilize the Chaos Sorcerer actually a little bit better with like Arcanite Magician plays because of its level. Obviously BLS is a little bit higher in the level department, but it's just to try to show you guys some of the other Chaos plays in here. But in this play over here, you're going to see one of the cards that I just never got to see at all in a build, which is Jack in the Hand. So this makes your deck super consistent, as it lets you search out either the Lady Past or Lady Light, because this is what you need for your combos, because you're going to actually get the additional draw power. Then with the Fortune Vision over here, lets you add another Fortune Lady card. It just adds a lot more consistency, plus it lets you add, like, if you really need that extra spell, although this one would be one of the spells in the first place, but it lets you add potentially another Fortune Lady card, which will then let you potentially set something you can get extra draw power. There's a lot of plays with that, which just simply helps out. I know that Archfiends in 2020 is probably not the most meta of things, but again, the point was to show you guys that card that lets you add whatever key piece that you need for your combo. But now we can see the Beals. This card is still okay. Once in a while, some decks just simply can't deal with it, so I like it for those reasons. But I'll also give you guys the deck profile for it. You guys can see I can call it like Synchro Fortune Ladies 2021, as nothing really got hit with this deck, and again, it's more of a fun deck than I would say a competitive deck if you are going second. Going first, though, I could say you could definitely keep up with a lot of the more meta decks. Obviously, you're gonna have to deal with hand traps. Unfortunately, the Fortune Ladies don't have like a instant way to prevent your opponent from doing something. However, there are a few cards that they have access to, like technically the field spell would make them, like, as soon as they're summoned, they go away. So it can dodge certain gameplay mechanics, but overall, it's just kind of outdated in terms of like using that. But if you guys want the deck profile, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So here is the deck profile for this. So like I mentioned before, you can run BLS. BLS can be really good in a lot of scenarios, as well as Chaos Sorcerer, but Chaos Sorcerer plus another monster which you'll have lots of access to, can instantly go up to Arcanine Magician. So what you can do is, this is something I used to do back in the day too, when I used to play this in like Plant Synchro. Chaos Sorcerer, you get to banish one, and then you'd go and use, back in the day it was like Valor, and then you'd go into Arcanine, and then you get rid of 2 additional cards. So that's really good. So basically getting rid of 3, but card advantage in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has definitely changed as, you know, time has progressed. But here is the deck profile. So I want to give a big shout out to YuGiOh for hooking me up with the gameplay as well as the deck profile, because again, Fortune Ladies was something that someone else asked about, and I was like, well, there's nothing new in Fortune Ladies, but there is something new that I simply did not cover, which was Jack in the Hand, which again adds insane amount of consistency. Now there is one downside with this. So what the card effect does is you reveal 3 level 1 monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent adds 1 to their hand, and you add 1 to your hand, and then you shuffle the 3rd one into the deck. What you usually want to go for is, of course, you go for the Souls, Light, Past, and either way you're going to get a benefit off of it. You just search for whatever, you hope that your opponent gives you whatever key combo piece that you need, but either one of those is going to give you an advantage at the end of the day. But next up we have 3 copies of the Apprentice Illusion Magician. This is nice because it prevents the Dark Spellcaster, which sometimes can be this card if it just lingers up on the board, which you guys did see during the gameplay. But pretty much it's just for that extra free pluses that you can go for. Plus, it happens to be a 6, so it does work well if you want to go ahead and go for the extra bouncer play. And then 1 copy of Chi. They also got there's a bunch of these other new Fortune Fairy cards, but it's not the greatest at the end of the day, like as like a standalone engine. But if you draw this card, you can special summon it, and if it's special summoned from the hand, you get to make each player draw a card, which sometimes you can use for those plays, but it's just another 6. Then we have Water, which is the most important key card that you'll summon, so you can go ahead and go plus with your plays. And then 3 copies of Magician Souls over here. Excellent ability to go and summon a Dark Magician Kappa. Then we have 3 copies of Light, 3 copies of Past. This is like the most important bread and butter part of the engine. Then more draw power with the Lure of Darkness, more draw power with Spellbook of Knowledge, 3 copies of Lady Calling, which is just another searcher. And then again, the Jack in the Hand, which we mentioned before, 2 copies of that, 3 copies of Fortune's Future, so it lets you reset some of the cards. And the Chaos Sorcerer works really well with this, being able to, again, banish those cards in the first place. Then we have the Terraforming for the Secret Village, so basically we're playing 3 of that. Then we have 1 Spellbook of Secrets, 3 copies of Fortune Vision, so you're able to go have more consistency with your deck. And this is what makes the deck a little bit more on the competitive side, especially when you're going turn 1. And the Scrap Iron Signal, which then lets you go for whatever level 8 Synchro monster that you want to. Back in the day, like, you know, there were a lot of really powerful monsters, but this day and age, I'd say for Synchro monsters, Crystal Wing is probably the only most viable one, as you really need to be able to be reactive in negating stuff that your opponent does technically throw out over here, which again, it only goes for a 7 or 8. But fantastic card. You guys did get to see Hot Red Dragon Archfiend though, but here's what we got for the extra deck, which is obviously really important. So we have Ultimate Token, which is the heart and soul of it, and then we have the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Then we have the Crocosaur, fantastic card as well. Then the Beals, so you can maybe have like a stall card, and then the most important card is Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and then Scrap Dragon, just to pop any problematic random card if it exists, and like you can't like banish it with Chaos Sorcerer, or if you want to just go a little faster, get rid of something, you know, a back row. And then we also have Michael Lightsworn Arc, which is another great card just to get rid of another thing that's in your way. Arcanine Magician, again, mentioned Chaos Sorcerer plays. And then Fortune Lady Every, it's kind of an okay stepping stone too. And then we have Coral Dragon, which is another stepping stone, but it also has the ability to pop a card, which you guys got to see the opponent try to use when he used Reborn, but it didn't really work out for him. Then we've got number 39, Utopia Beyond, which we didn't get to see, but to mention what it does. The attack of all monsters your opponent controls can become 0, and then as a quick effect, you detach material, target a face of exceed monster you control, and a Utopia monster in your graveyard, and we're not going to get that effect because we don't have it. But the most important part is, like, if your opponent may be low life points, you can just go ahead, reduce it, attack, game. But I think Bouncer's probably the most viable one that you'll probably make more often. But this card is able to have 2 materials, you know, obviously when you make it, and then you get to not only negate the effect of a monster, and that's a during either player's turn, so it doesn't say quick effect, but same thing, whatever. you get to also burn your opponent for 1,000 damage. So don't forget about that, as that can be really important sometimes when you just need a little bit more damage to go ahead and make a game. But yeah, that's a build of Fortune Ladies for 2021, as I had someone request it. And I'm like, I haven't seen anyone play this deck, but this is a cool build. Again, this is like one of the newer cards that I just didn't cover when I made a previous Fortune Lady build back last year. I was actually looking back, I was like, you know what? No one's talking about Fortune Ladies, and I think it's a fun deck, and people just want to, you know, play something new. So this is definitely a cool deck. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. And if you are new here and you want to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh videos in the future, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. But once again, big shout outs to AzneyesWhitedragon for hooking me up with the gameplay and the deck profile. Leave him down below if you guys want to check him out. Give him a follow too. He's another awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content creator. But anyways, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.